Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's so exciting to see you, everyone. I am Yay, and I'm really excited to be here with all of you. Today's our path to profit is going to be focusing on a very important subject that we are kind of developing through this whole month is enhancing brand presence through strategic engagements and insights. It's good to see everyone who is coming back and as well as who are watching our replays and making comments. Thank you so much for following us and resharing our content. It makes a big difference for us to know that this is useful and that we want to create more of this content. Thank you for also suggesting any type of topics or pressing challenges that you guys currently experiencing, because it allows us to create more content that is highly valuable to help you maximize the profits and as well as grow your businesses. If you joined our roundtables, then roundtables at the beginning of every month, this month we were talking about, if you remember, we started to power a powerful conversation about visibility and not just the surface level kind of brands chase with the ads, influencers, or social noise, but kind of visibility that builds from inside out of your organization. Today is going to be a stepping stone into advanced layer of what we have discussed during our roundtable. If you've missed the roundtable, we will drop a link later on for you guys to be able to also watch a replay, because it's going to be very important, I think, to get the whole picture of this particular topic that we are going to talk about today. The roundtable was really focusing on what and why, and today's session is going to really be focusing on how to execute. Uh, Thank you guys so much. I'm seeing more and more people are joining. We are live on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and by the way, we are doing this every third Thursday of the month at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. So do mark your calendars on our company page. You can always see the new topics that we're going to discuss. Troy, welcome. I'm really good to see you again. We are going into the system and the mechanics and the operational playbook behind the brands that stay visible, relevant, trusted, and profitable. Even as the platform's algorithms and customer behaviors change, and they change constantly. So, our job is to stay ahead of the curve and thinking what can be done that is not going to affect by this change that happened so rapidly. And what I want to make this very clear up front, that this is not a marketing webinar. We're not talking about how to post more content, chase trends, or burn money on ads. We're going to be talking about how your internal system either create or destroyed your brand presence. We are talking about engagement as an operational outcome, not a content outcome. We're going to be talking about the authority as a structural advantage, not a branding exercise. If you want a brand presence that is stable, credible, scalable, today's session is going to give you the clearest path you've ever had. This is not a sales call, so do not rush to jump off. This is truly a highly value driven content that we would like to present to you to help you grow your business. Before we begin, though, I'd love to introduce myself. Some of you guys already know me, but for some of you guys, I'm very new. And you might be wondering what gives me the authority to have these conversations with you on a monthly basis. Well, my name is Evgenia Alexandrovna Yushkova, or simply Yay. And for the past 2 decades, I've helped fashion brands, retailers, and founders build high performing private labels, optimize their merchandising strategy, and transform chaotic process into clear, stable systems. I have built and launched more than a dozen multi-million-dollar brands from concept to store shelves. And I've led teams on both sides of the industry, on the retail side and the manufacturing side. That dual view shaped everything I teach today. I help brands bridge the gap between creative vision and operational execution, because that is the gap where most visibility, profitability, and the trust gets lost. And it's the gap most founders and executives never get meaningful support navigating. At Yay Designs, we focus simply on helping finding the profit leaks to maximize your profitability. Strengthen your internal systems so your brand can scale with clarity, confidence, and profitability. Identify and fix your profit leaks and build operational reliability that turns into visibility. Because here's what I have learned: the brands that grow are not the ones that are the loudest. They're the most predictable, they're the most reliable, they're the ones whose operations, merchandising, and customer experience work in sync. That is exactly the lens I am bringing into you today, and hopefully will spark up some great ideas for you to implement in your own businesses. Let's start by reframing the engagement completely. Most people think engagement comes from the content, but content is just the output. Real engagement comes from how your brand performs operationally. When your fit is consistent, customers trust you and trust your brand. When your shipping is reliable, customers return and they want to buy more. When your messaging matches your delivery, authority grows. And when your product detail pages answers all the questions to the customer, your conversion rises. When your assortment is clear, customer stays longer and loyal and keep coming back for more. Engagement isn't a social media strategy. It is the reflection of your operational health of your business. So I want to walk through the operational engagement engine, the architecture that high brand performers brands use to create engagement that compounds over time. Picture, for example, a six-layered pyramid. Each layer supports every layer above it. If the foundation cracks, everything else will collapse. So when we think about that pyramid, think about a first layer, and the first layer really is the operational reliability. If you are consistent in delivering times, fulfillment, return processing, production quality, restocking rhythm, inventory accuracy, engagement stalls because customers can't trust the inconsistency to the brands. So it's critical to stay consistent in all of those elements in order for your engagement to continue to grow. Now, the second layer that goes right on top of it is the product integrity, which includes the consistent fit, consistent construction, fabric reliability, and quality, stability, predictable feel, and the performance of your product. Customers talk about brands that they trust. So if you break that trust, which often happens, especially on a fit, you're going to lose that customer. You're going to lose that engagement with your brand. You're going to lose that trust. I always say it's easier to find the first customer to take a bet and buy your product. It is much harder to keep that customer and turn them into your loyal customers. The next layer that lays right on top of it is going to be your merchandising clarity. And this is where most brands really self sabotage themselves. Confusing is a very one of the biggest things that can kill the engagement. The confusion by the customer of not knowing what direction and what is the essence of your brand. Signs like, for example, of weakening clarity is if you're doing too many SKUs, or maybe a weak hair product that you are actually supposed to be known for, what your brand is really known for. Maybe not having the right assortment hierarchy, or inconsistent color logic, or seasonal roles and clarity, or potentially not even having a point of view. It confuses the customer, which kills the engagement. And the layer four is where customer touch point really is aligned. And touch points include your product detail pages, which I often going to be referring today as PDP, uh, size guides, emails, packaging, any type of educational material that you're providing to your customers, return experience, tracking communication, loyalty touch points. Every touch point either reinforces your brand or erodes it. And the fifth layer is going to be the authority signals, which is really authority is earned through consistency, reliability, clarity, recognizable brand behaviors, poor of quality repeat performance. This layer is not about aesthetics. It is all about the execution. And the sixth top layer is where we have the community engagement. This is what everyone sees, but it only works if everything beneath of that and all the layers are strong. If they're not, your engagement is never going to grow or it will eventually plateau. I would like to also think about now, how do we identify and kind of how do we navigate everything that we just discussed? And some of the advanced tools that we use, and one of the ones that I'd love to share with you right now is the engagement friction map. This tool identifies exactly where customers lost trust, paused, or completely dropped off. Friction can come from unclear messaging, missing size information, inconsistent fit, slow shipping, poor packaging, confusion assortment, or unclear value. Inconsistent brand promise is another good example. When you remove that friction, you increase the engagement immediately and organically. The other tool we often use with our clients is the touchpoint dependency chain. This is the moment most founders have their light bulb moment. Your most visible moments depends on your least visible system. If your production timeline slips, for example, your launch content breaks. If your PDP is unclear, your ads stop converting. If your sizing is inconsistent, for example, your email flows fail. And if your assortment is confusing, your audience engagement collapses. This change shows you where engagement breaks and why it breaks. And we can come up with many other links within this chain. This is just some of the examples to get you guys started to think how everything is really interconnected. And when we talk about the engagement and increasing engagement, it's not always about the content. It's not always about the ad spend. I'd love to also all mention that if you have any questions, please do drop a comment below or send us a chat if you are watching us and we're able to actually communicate to us. If you are watching a replay, please do also either send us a message or comment below of that replay. We will answer it, and I'll try to answer some of those questions on the call as they're coming in. When we think about the brand authority architecture, they're going to be the next, really the step that I'd like to also for us to talk about. And that something is even more powerful than what we've just discussed earlier. And brand authority, this is why really your customer will trust you. Your brand authority is why they will buy faster. With your authority, with the high authority, you will also why they will content performance even when you post less. You might not have as much posting frequency, but if you have a high brand authority, even with a small subset of content, quality content, your engagement will grow. And authority is why your brand becomes memorable. What authority is not, which is often confused even by the clients that come into us, it is not a luxury position. It is not about high price points. It is not about aesthetics or consistency of those aesthetics. It's not about a follower count. and it's definitely not about the PR. Authority is a result of operational reliability, plus clarity, plus consistent delivery. It's a key, and it's important to understand how do we build that authority so that we don't divert ourselves by trying to build authority through trying to get more engagement on our content and putting so much money against the paid ads, which eventually are going to drain our budgets. Here are the 5 authority accelerators that I want to share with you today. First is the consistency of experience. Authority grows when customers know what to expect, and you deliver it every single time. Every time customer interacts with your brand, they should receive the same quality, the same tone, the same speed, the same clarity, the same follow-up, the same packaging experience, and promise delivery. This is what creates the subconscious trust of that customer. The authority accelerator number 2 would be the clarity of the merchandising logic. And this is probably one of the biggest ones that we get to fix with a lot of our clients who are coming in. Think about strategic brands that who know their hero SKU. They know what their hero image is. Remember going back to that 80-20 rule, right? What is 20% that drives 80% of your revenue? That is what your hero images are, what your hero product is that the customer know your brand for. You need to know that as well. Build recognizable assortment logic. Maintain consistent color stories. Design to solve customer needs. Maintain clarity season over season. Clarity communicates confidence. Confidence drives authority. You confuse the customer, they lose the confidence. The accelerated authority number 3 will be delivering of brand promise. So if you promise to your customer comfort, sustainability, luxury, durability, fast shipping, perfect fit, which a lot of our clients and yourself, I'm sure, is promising that to the customer on a daily basis. But if your processes fails to deliver it, authority will collapse. Remember that your promise to the customer must match your delivery. It's always better under promise and over deliver than over promise and not deliver. Authority accelerator number 4 would be predictable post purchase experience. If your post purchase experience is inconsistent, visibility goes down because uncertainty destroys trust. Predictability builds it. So think about it, how important it is for us, even as a customer, to get the follow-ups, to get the expected follow-up of what my first purchase was, and maybe potentially asking for my feedback. Even as a customer, if I don't do it, the brands who fail to have this consistency starts to lose the engagements, and they start to see the decline of repeated customers. Authority accelerator number 5 would be the public improvement transparency. One of the most advanced authority tools is something almost no brands uses, believe it or not. A monthly "you said we improve" update is really important. The customer wants to know that they have been heard. This single practice increases trust, strengthens authority, builds loyalty, raises engagement, increases return to customers, and grows visibility organically. This is a fantastic way of creating valuable content to share that through with your customers, whether it's through email marketing or social media, and letting them know that the and letting the audience know that you have listened to their comments, to their feedback, that you acted, that you improved, and that you care. The best way we often say to do this is to take one example of what was a potentially raised problem with whether it's your product or whether that's your shipping or whether it's logistics or whether it's your customer service, and demonstrate how you guys fixed it. That really helps to arise the authority and be able to also raise the engagement from not just your existing customers, but also show the trust in the new customers that you care. You care about your customer, you care about what they have to say. I see that some of the questions are coming in, so I'm really excited to see them, and I'd love to answer some of them to take a little quick pause and a break. Um, Mary, thank you so much for sending these questions. How do we measure trust? It's a really great question. Trust really shows up as a frequency. If you see repeat purchase rate increasing, you see the time between the purchases are decreasing as well, and they're starting to increase. People are starting to buy more frequent. Engagement, recency, I would say, is going to be another big one here. Review depth to see how deep customers actually reviewing your product, how well they replied to your emails or potentially asking them to give the reviews and they're actually doing it. And really thinking about the community responsiveness overall, whether that's your through social media channels or whether that's through your own channels like blogs and or email marketings as well. Great. Thank you, Mary, for thumbs up. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that this was helpful. Another great question that just came in. Thank you, Sam. I really appreciate it. What can I fix in 30 days to see engagement lift? That's a really great question. And I'd suggest probably to do one of this. Think about your fit clarity, whether that's a well communicated, and if it's not, fix it. Think about your product detail pages, and we're going to talk a little bit more further how to optimize the product detail pages so that they are driving maximum conversion just in a few minutes. But thinking about whether it's clear, whether the in all information that is needed are on them. Returns are done in the way where it's simple. Simplify your return process. Potentially, you are shipping transparency in what you are able to communicate to the customers ahead of time, knowing when to expect their product or if there is going to be any delays. Thinking maybe you're going to be improving the packaging quality. One improvement will equal immediate lift. My biggest recommendation and the majority of brands we work with, biggest pitfall is to try to fix them all at once. I highly suggest to dissect, pick one and fix one at a time. Whether you do it once a month or if you're able to do it once every 2 weeks is great. But typically once a month, find one root cause and fix it, and then be able to be transparent to your customers how you have fixed it. I'd love to just continue our discussion as we are going to evolve into the subject that we're talking today, and how do we raise our brand awareness, and how do we contribute to help us to raise it without adding more marketing spend. I'd love to really talk about the engagement strategies that will not burn through your budget. This is where a lot of brands overspend because they are invested in broad outreach instead of a targeted, insight driven engagement. You don't need more content. You need content that aligns with your customer and how they behave in terms of their shopping behavior. Here's the shift to think about. The traditional and old approach is to post everywhere, run ads everywhere, reach as many people as possible. And especially for the young brands, this is a common pitfall that we're seeing because they are mimicking what they're seeing that big brands do. But what they don't realize that the big brands put a lot of marketing spend dollars against it, and they have the budget to do so. When you are starting up or you're kind of in that novice or beginning phases, especially, you don't have that luxury. So you have to be very strategic of how you're going to invest your money. The approach that we often implement and teach is to focus on the platforms that match your customer buying behavior. For many brands, visibility problems come from misalignment spending. You're putting dollars into channels that don't match how your audience makes decisions. We often go straight into meta and we want to do ads and lots of content on Instagram. But is this, ask yourself and ask your customer, is where they actually make decision on purchasing the product? Or do they use other channels to get inspired and go straight to those channels because they need something, and that's where they search and buy product directly? So if you are still on the old approach, here's how to fix that. So first, you want to identify your highest performing channels. That could be Amazon, Pinterest, TikTok, Google, a wholesale marketplace, as an example. But it needs to be done and validated by your end consumer. So if your end consumer is other retail stores, ask the buyers or do a survey to find out where platforms, what marketplaces do they use to find product, so that you could be there and you could advertise within those markets. If you are doing to direct to consumer, survey and ask your target audience and customers and let them tell you where are they day in and day out actually purchasing the product or getting inspirations to purchase, and then focus on advertising there. Step two would be to build engagement for each platform naturals behavior. For example, Pinterest requires educational value and search keywords. TikTok needs loops, hooks, and fast visual storytelling. Amazon will require SEO, content hierarchy, and review strategy. Google will require evergreen expertise and brand authority. Wholesale requires pitch ready credibility and consistency. So, depending on the channels that you want to focus, understand what are the requirements of those channels so that you can and build strategies around that. Then you want to, after that, relocate the budget from your low performing channels. This alone will save brands thousands of dollars year over year. So instead of spending your dollars and budgets on channels that do not perform as well, or where your customer is just at the beginning of the exploratory phase, where they're just looking for inspirations, but they do not have the intent to buy, does it really make sense to spend those dollars there, or take them to the channels and spend them within the channels that you know they're coming in to actually make a purchase, so that you can grab that customer and their attention? Improve your brand's return to brand matrix. This is the number of where the times customer come back organically. The more they return, the less you spend on paid channels. So thinking about how do you re-engage them? Email marketing is one of the greatest examples to be able to drive the highest engagement conversion more or less organically, right? Thinking about whether those follow-ups that you're doing, the post-purchase follow-ups, are they helping the customer to organically come back and shop for more product and see what else you have to offer month over month, week over week, season over season? And the last step really is to think about the add micro engagement layers. Simple, low-cost ways to stay present, which would be the value-driven emails, expert tips, platform native short videos as an example, whether that's not necessarily just on TikTok and Reels on Instagram, but thinking about the short videos even in Amazon, and thinking about how you are enhancing your marketing spend there, and how do your ads actually look like, and potentially enhancing with those short videos your product pages so that they can help to really drive the customer to the end decision of actually purchasing. Community prompts is another great one. Retargeting built in intent signals, right? So thinking about this costs very little but drive high brand recall. When your engagement strategy matches your customer behavior, you cut waste, boost visibility, and stay present consistently without overspending. You often hear me just talk about continuous improvement. I'm a big believer of continuous improvement, whether it's operationally, whether it's through your marketing, whether it's through your design phases. Continuous improvement mentality and culture is a key for any business. This is the real engine behind the long-term visibility as well. Continuous improvement, really, it's not a visibility that it's happens just in this particular moment. Visibility is really a momentum, and momentum is created when you improve something every single month. I'm going to walk us through exact systems that we often implement with our brands that we work with who scale quickly and sustainably. So think about a 90-day visibility operating cycle. The first month we would spend on assessing, diagnosing, fixing, and aligning. This month is really stabilization and understanding what your root causes really are that you need to fix. Your goal is to remove friction and increase clarity. You diagnose behavior, fix weak points, align touch points, eliminate confusion, tighten messaging, clean up assortment logic, or maybe you're stabilizing the operation. Stability equals predictable engagement, and that's a key. And that's what we want to focus on in the first month. The second month, we were going to be focusing on optimizing, synchronizing, and giving us that single boost. This month is really about consistency. You will optimize your product detail pages. You will refine product descriptions. You will tighten size guides. You will improve packaging. You will refresh hero SKUs. You will synchronize merchandising with marketing. And you might also be updating some educational flows to help educate your customer about your brand, how to wear your product, how to style your product, as an example. And right here, before we even move further, I want to pause and go deeper into most powerful area of optimization, which is your product detail pages that allows you to really increase the conversion. It's not enough just to increase engagement. We also have to think about how do we increase conversion when we're actually bringing people to those product pages so that they actually want to buy it. Your product detail pages are decision points, if you think about it. It's where your brand either earns the sale, the trust, or potentially even turns them into return visits, or creates a hesitation, confusion, and potentially are abandoning their carts because they couldn't make the decision. Most brands underperform not because their product is weak, but because their product detail pages leaves too many questions unanswered or too many risks unresolved. This also another big reason of your potentially high return rate. Because if the customer thought that they're buying X, but what they received was Y, they are confused. They're going to return that product and potentially even give you a negative review. So you want the product detail pages to be as clear as possible to give all the possible information that that customer needs in order to make a powerful decision. So one of the frameworks, as I often say, is to start with clarity that is above the fold. This is your first, think about 3 to 5 seconds of the customer interacting with your product page. It's the moment where conversion either won or lost. They're either going to look further and to make a decision to purchase, or they're going to walk away. Your product detail pages must immediately communicate what the product is, why it's unique, who it's for, the price, the color, the size options are standard, enlarge hero image or video, and potentially multiple product images that show different angles. Doing a product video of 360 would be another great one, or potentially you have a video featuring of how to use the product or what are the key features of your product. All of this helps to contribute to strengthen the clarity, which will help to install authority. If you don't have those clearly defined in the way that the customer can understand it without using fancy words or fancy creative names that are irrelevant to the customer, you will weaken clarity and you will probably increase the hesitation. The second thing is to strengthen your story through context, not so much through the marketing copy. Your product description might answer three questions. What is it? Why it matters? And how does it improve customers' life? Or how does it answer the customer's pain point? This is where the differentiation happens, not through really the adjectives of fancy words, but through intention. To able to give the customer clarity and understanding that this product was designed and created for them to help them solve either a certain problem that they're trying to solve or help them to improve overall their customer lifestyle. Add authority signals through your product detail pages is going to be another great option where it gives customer the confidence that they need to buy it. For example, expert 5-layer fit notes, maybe where you're not just putting in a size charts, but you're also potentially talking about the fit in general. Was it a relaxed fit? Was it a true to size fit? I mean, thinking about what are the different ways that you could describe so that the customer really understands how this product fits, especially in the e-commerce world. Because in store, well, they can go and try it on. In e-commerce, they cannot. So the more information we give them, help them to navigate towards the right size is going to be very critical. Material transparency. Let them know what material it's made out of. If there are some sustainability factors in those materials, let them know about it. Construction detail, if you have particular pockets, or if maybe you have a specific zippers that you're using, or you have potential specific functionality of your products, make sure you highlight that, not just in images, but also in the descriptions. Quality testings and standards is another big one that's often missed. Talk about the wearability, talk about how many potentially wash cycles this product been tested from. Anything you could give the customer to really understand that this product is a quality product that will fit them and that is made in an ethical way with the sustainability in mind from the materials that hopefully that they gravitate towards. This is where you will show your technical expertise and really help to earn their clean trust. Build a strong size and fit section. Now with the AI tools that are coming out quicker than we can keep up, there are so many wonderful opportunities to integrate with that helps the customer to decide accurately what size they need. The traditional old way, we would give a size chart and was potentially the maximum create a sketch to where we show how to measure the chest, the waist, and the hip, and hoping that the customer will still be able to be educated enough to pick the right size. Well, the reality of it, that is not the case. A lot of our customers are not technical. A lot of our customers we are not even going to own a measuring tape. So thinking about how we could give them the clarity that they need through potentially maybe they can scan their body with their phone and then that helps to match up to tell them what size they need. Maybe it's potentially allowing them to but try on and do like a virtual fitting where they could actually virtually try on their product. All of this really helps to not just increase engagement and trust and loyalty of your brand, but also is one of the key to drive the return rate down. Because really a lot of times the primary reason why people return because the product doesn't fit right on the e-commerce world. It is a number one driver for returns, and it's also a number one destroyer of visibility. Is poor fit communication is really going to be hurting your business because they will go and leave bad reviews, which are difficult to change after that. But if you are that brand who already had these issues, then take this into opportunity to fix it and communicate to the customers through all of your channels that you heard them and you fixed it and how you did it, so that you could be able to revamp your trust and their trust and credibility and your brand's credibility. You need to absolutely, at bare minimum, include one clear fit sentence. I would also suggest to add model information. So if you are using a model, you might want to let them know what model size, whether it's a medium, small model, or large size, that it was, so that they can sort of relate and gauge, okay, if this is a medium model and this is how it fits, and I'm a size medium, this is how it's going to fit on me. Or if I'm on the large side, if you, especially if you're running, if your larger sizes run a little shy and a little bit more narrow, let the customer know so that they can make a better purchasing decision to potentially buy a larger size. Detail measurements obviously is a key. Any kind of fit tools that you can come up with or integrate, which again, relying back on the AI technology in today's world, and fit guarantees and exchanges. Let them know that it's okay if the product does not fit the way that they can exchange that product, or they can return that product and get something else. Fit clarity equals a higher conversion, and it will also equals lower returns. Use visual hierarchy that reduces the hesitation. Guide the eye through the hero area, value statement, price and call to action, fit and materials, description, visuals, reviews, cross-selling. Structure builds confidence. Make it easy to understand. Do not make it too wordy, because customers do not like to read. This is where infographics is another great tool to be able to visually communicate all of these important things that we just discussed to your customers. Show the case and use styles in the guidance of how the product actually used. This is where the authority meets the practicality, right? Help customer imagine how they'll wear it and when they will use it. For example, if you are creating purses, maybe potentially this is an opportunity for you to showcase how does that purse can be able to help them through their work moments or through their nightlife, or maybe it's transitioning from day to night, or maybe during the travel. Show them the features of not only what the product actually has, but also how it performs in use. And you can do that through video content, you can do that through images, you can do that through description and infographics. There's many ways of doing that. Use reviews as a visibility tool, not just a social proof. Include photos, video reviews, fit tag reviews, problem solving reviews, public responses. Reviews aren't just validation, they really help visibility assets to the customer as well. Reduce uncertainty with clear policies, especially on your own websites. Customers should instantly know when is the shipping time, when is the return rules, what are the exchange policies, what are the carrier instructions. Clarity removes that last barrier to purchase. Very important, and do not hide it. Make it easy to access right from the product page. Add your product detail pages SEO to boost organic visibility. Optimize for keywords, alternative text, long description, material related search terms. This helps your product get discovered without paid ads. And really, to add all of it and finish it up, to polish it, is to have a strong call to action. For example, add to the bag is a perfect fit guaranteed, right? Or potentially add to bag ships in 24 hours. I mean, give them the call to action that really gives them the trust and the urgency of buying this product now and adding it to their cart, right? As an example. You can use this checklist, and if you are interested to get a product detail page checklist from us, please do comment below and just say PDP, trust checklist, and we will definitely send one to you. But just to, really, when you think about the checklist for every product that you have, think about asking yourself these questions. Is the product instantly clear? Does the fit feel safe? Do we explain fabric choices? Do images build trust? Do we show how to wear it? Are policies obvious or not? Do we reduce risk at every point? When your product detail answers all of this, you immediately increase conversion, trust, retention, AOV, authority, and visibility. Now, after this, we're going to talk about the third month to kind of sum it up what we've been talking about. So now we've talked about what you've been doing in the first 60 days. Now, in your last stretch of the 90-day improvement process is going to be to scale, to stabilize, reinforce your authority. This month is visibility expansion. You will scale what works. You will automate processes. You will standardize your workflows. You will reinforce your authority signals. You will strengthen brand behaviors. You will build reputable systems. You will eliminate outliers. And then you will document it all into SOPs. Authority equals visibility. Visibility equals demand. And demand leads towards organic growth. This is what allows us to really increase our visibility without overspending in our marketing dollars and marketing budgets. Thank you so much, guys, for being here with me. I'll take a couple more questions as we're wrapping up and we're coming to the top of our hour. Let me see. Kimberly, thank you so much for asking this question. How do we optimize continuous improvement without overwhelming the team? I would say one improvement per month. And use a Kaizen method where you take a small step, which will lead to big visibility. Through Kaizen, you can actually effectively to identify one root cause and find a solution with your collaborative solution with your team and implement it so that you could see an immediate change. The biggest pitfall in this, I'd say, is try not to treat the symptom. Before you jump in into actually improving something, ask yourself first at least 5 whys to understand where the actual root cause of this problem or symptom lays so that you could be able to address the root cause, not the symptom. I'd love to also share a couple of quick case studies that we've done with, for example, some of our clients, and help you to understand kind of give you quick examples of how some of these things and strategies that we just talked about looks like in the practice. One of our brands that we worked with had a strong product. They had a solid demand, but they kind of plateaued on their visibility no matter how much they spent. Instead of spending more on ads, what we end up doing is tightening their assortment logic with their purchase. We kind of looked and audited and optimized their post-purchase experience, their customer journey clarity, their touch point consistency. We re-identified and really keyed in on their here SKU positioning and their messaging hierarchy. Visibility lifted by 30% within about 60 days without increasing marketing spend. Why did this happen? Because operation consistency is a visibility. Another case study that I would love to share with you is when we used Amazon as an outlet to grow visibility by reaching out to customers beyond traditional channels like Google and Meta and increase their engagement. How did we do it? This brand had a strong products. They also had great reviews and they had a consistent traffic, but their visibility has also plateaued over time. And they've spent heavily on meta ads and influencer campaigns, but sales were still more or less flat or did not have a significant increase. So what we did for them were two things. We shifted their spend towards Amazon competitor research, SEO, and platform narrative engagement. We optimized their keyword hierarchy, listing architecture, video placement, A+ content, reviewed strategies, replenishment timing, cross-category keywords captures. The second thing we did is stop ad spend on low-performing channels and instead we reinvested it into educational Amazon videos. We improved product imagery. We better customer support system that we were able to provide, and we optimized storefront flow. The result was 27% lift in visibility in 60 days without increasing their total budget. What changed? Their engagement become aligned with how their customer search and shop. Visibility grew because they invested where their customer already were. And retention increased because the brand experience became consistent across all touch points. This is really the power of strategic insight driving engagement approach. Now that we're at the end of our Path to Profit live webinar today, I want to close with just one thought. Your visibility is not determined by how loud you shout. It is determined by how consistently you will deliver. When your systems are aligned, your presence becomes stronger, more stable, more profitable, more trustworthy. You don't need to have more content. You need more clarity, more alignment, more reliability. When you build the operational engagement engine and brand authority architecture and continuous improvement systems, everything else becomes easier. It's the foundation to take your brand to the next level. If today's session really helped you to see next steps for your brand, I'd love to explore that with you. We will drop in a link to my discovery call, or you can scan it on your screens and book a free call with me so that we could be able to strategize further of what your next steps needs to be. And I'd love to hear what your biggest takeaway was from our today's conversation. So please drop a comment, even if you are watching a replay, please drop a comment or send us a message. And let's continue growing your brand with clarity, alignment, and operational strength. Thank you for being here. Thank you for registering on all of our events, and so that you could get the replays if you're not able to make it live. And our next path to profit was going to be on December 18th. Our topic is going to be about talking about building an adaptive growth roadmap for 2026 success, now that we are at the end of our year. You can also, I highly recommend, is to follow us on LinkedIn company page at Yay Designs, as well as on our YouTube channel, which hosts all of this replays, which will be valuable that you can go back to and learn from. We'd love to hear from you. If you thought that this was valuable, please like, share, repost. It helps us to understand that what we're doing is actually brings value to you on a daily basis. And it also allows us to know that we need to continue doing more efforts of bringing in more of this valuable content. If you have any ideas or questions or challenges that you experience and you'd love us to cover it, let us know. You can drop a comment below as well, and we will get to it. And we will create content around them, especially if there's high demand for those particular topics. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you all next month in December 18th, or our roundtable that's upcoming on the first Tuesday of every month at also 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you very much.